The President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, just signed into law land expropriation without compensation, meaning that land and other assets can be taken from people and be redistributed as the ANC government see fit. This means that Afrikaners are yet again heavily under fire from a communistic regime. What is the impact on Orania and how will Orania react? First,
Yeah, so the propaganda has started against President Ramaphosa. Now they are calling him communist after he signed a bill for land expropriation to take lands back without compensation. That is, if you acquire the land illegally. This is the propaganda that they have started against him. And my people of South Africa, black people, are you ready for what is coming? That is the question. I want us to go and see what is happening in Orania after the president signed the bill. Let's go and see what they are doing, come back and talk about it. Yeah, so that was what I was asking. My people, are you ready for what is coming? Because the president has done his part. What are we going to do to rally behind the president, to support him for this? Because the reality is that he has given his life, or he has put in his life online for this. He has put in his political career online for this. And then what are we going to do? Are we going to sit aloof and allow these colonial criminals to bring him down? Because they have started the propaganda, as I said. Now they are calling him a communist and stuff like that. And according to them, he is trying to take South Africa back to be a third world country. And the question is, what is first world about South Africa? Or what is first world about black South Africans? There's nothing first world about black South Africans, because minority of people cannot be holding 80% majority of the country land, and then you call it a first world country. It doesn't benefit the minority. So the president has came out with this bill, and the propaganda has started. And as I said, I'm calling on all Africans to rally behind President Ramaphosa for this, because this was a very smart move that none of us were expecting such a bill or such a move coming from the president. Nobody was expecting it, and yet he played that game to our satisfaction, or to our expectation, if I may put it that way. But we shouldn't just celebrate and go to sleep. We have to rally behind him. Just as we are supporting our leaders in the Sahel for what they are doing for us, we have to give President Ramaphosa the same support. Because the reality is that the colonial criminals will come for him. And it is not just going to be only in South Africa. It is going to be all over the world. European Americans, European Canadians, European Australians, Europeans in Europe, in the continent of Europe, they will go after President Ramaphosa, because that is what they always do.
You may have missed this, it's not been on the news. So in South Africa, the South African government and South African president have just signed off on a law which makes it legal for land seizures, or land expropriation as they call it, from white farmers. Basically what this law says is that if anyone can show that there's been any historical reason or historical abuse that's gone on by the landowners or by the farmers, even going back 50, 100 years when apartheid was in place, then that land can now just be seized from those farmers or expropriated and given to the South African black population. Now, many people might say
they will always support themselves, but unfortunately, we never stand up for our leaders who are fighting for us, for our interests. The Europeans will always rally behind those who are fighting for their interests. And it is about time we also do the same thing. But the problem is that why will some people have problem? What South Africans have problem with what the bill, what the President Ramaphosa, the bill that President Ramaphosa just came out with? Why do they have problem with it? If you know that you acquired the land, your land legally, you have everything that shows that you acquire the land legally, then you don't have to be worried. So it tells you that majority of the people who are owning these lands know that they got it illegal. And that is the reason why they are worried. That is the reason why they have just started this propaganda against him. And they will not stop. They will continue until they make sure that they make him unpopular. But we should know who is fighting for our interests. And as I said, let us give President Ramaphosa the same support with that energy that we are giving to our leaders in the Sahel. Because we know, if we can encourage or support more leaders who are fighting for our interests, then there will be more of them coming out. It is so disappointing, like somebody like President Ruto of Kenya, with all the ideas that he has to deviate from what he thinks is good. Why? Because of fear. Sometimes
the escalating conflict and deteriorating situation in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo are a grave concern to the people and governments of East Africa. Noting the worsening humanitarian crisis exacerbated by ongoing military actions, including the closure of airspace in Goma, I call for the immediate and unconditional cessation of hostilities. I emphasize the obligation of all parties to facilitate humanitarian access to affected populations and urge both sides to pursue peaceful means to resolving this tragic conflict.
I listen to President Ruto, and I feel sorry for him, because I know deep inside he knows the truth. Deep inside he has the ideas, but he has been hijacked by these colonial criminals. Can you blame him? Does he have enough support from us to stand up for our interests? That is the question. So if we really want our leaders to fight for our interests, to work for our interests, then it is time we start to support them, rally behind them. And I can guarantee you that more African leaders will start to work for our interests. Most of them know. Yes, some of them, no matter what, they are not there to work for our interests. Let us make those of them who are not working for our interests so unpopular. And those who are now beginning to wake up, let us support them, like President Ramaphosa. Because as I said, look at those in Orania. Look at what they are doing in Africa, in our own land. We don't have problem with them. All that we are saying is that this is Africa. Let us at least don't be greedy. Share a little of what you have. Share some of them to us so that together we can all enjoy life. But they don't want to listen to that. But thanks to President Ramaphosa, this bill, there's action. And then we are calling on AFF, the MK. We all have the same ideology. We may have different understanding of it. But at the end of the day, we were all given birth by the ANC. Let us rally behind President Ramaphosa for this. We shouldn't let him regret that he has ever stood for his people, because that is what happened to most of our past leaders who stand up for us. The Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba, Thomas Sankara, you name them. Let us rally behind President Ramaphosa for this, so that he will not regret that he has ever stood up for his people. Thank you very much for coming around. Please, if you appreciate what we are doing here in One Africa Mission, then support our mission. How do you support us? Is by sharing what we are doing. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have a lot of followers on TikTok, but we don't have subscribers on YouTube. Please try and go and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Help us. Let us fight for a united, dignified Africa, not just for us, but for the next generation of Africans. I thank you.
Put it quite frankly, if anybody thinks in South Africa that you can take the land without compensation, you're living in a dream. Let me put it quite